Incredible flavours, even better stories. One pour, 10 minutes. Aussie bourbon lovers sharing bourbon with Australia.
No pop today.
Sorry about this. It's just a very small bottle too.
It's very cute. What are we drinking, Dave?
This is Makers 46 Cask Strength. Oh, I've given you a lot for 10 minutes too.
Oh, wow. We might have to go a little longer.
We'll keep going, but we won't make everyone else sit through it. Cheers. Makers 46 Cask Strength. So, remarkably, I don't know if you can get this particular one in Australia. You can sometimes get Makers Cask Strength in Australia. You can definitely get Makers 46 in Australia. But I don't know if I've ever seen Makers 46 Cask Strength in Australia.
Is that why they made it in a little bottle?
Well, I got in a little bottle, well, we got in a little bottle when we were at Maker's Mark last year.
But they make it in the other size bottle as well?
Yeah, well, I think so, yeah. But I think we were like, it was one of these trips where I was trying to make sure that we could get it all home.
So we had to get a little bottle, not to go over our limit. On the nose, it is delightful.
Yeah. So do you know what cask strength is, or do you want me to speak to this?
You go. You know it better than me. I'm probably likely to lie to people.
So here's the thing. If you don't already know, almost all the whiskey you're drinking is watered down. It's not, they add water to it. When you finish, you get to the end of that long process of making whiskey.
Hope we didn't break just too many hearts right now.
I hope not. But they add water to it. It's called proofing down. And
because it has to be a certain percent, or certain, certain proof. They can't bottle it above a certain proof.
Well, they can and they do. And, there's these hazmat ones that are these huge proofs. And this one is the proof that it comes out of the cask cut. So makers make their kind of batches at...
They're regular delicious makers, aren't they?
It's true small batch. So 19 barrels in a small batch of Maker's Mark. That's what's kind of vatted and they make their kind of like their thing from. So that the collective for this particular batch is, and maybe this is all batches, but 110.3 proof or 55.15% alcohol. So that's why it's kind of hard to get, because a normal bottle of 46, I think is 90 proof, so 45%. I should have done the research on that before I got in here.
So to make a normal bottle's Maker's Mark, they blend it and then water it down until it's all...
Well, they blend the barrels.
The exact same.
And that's happened here too. This isn't a single barrel, because that's different again. If it's just one barrel, that's different too.
But this is the strength that it comes out of the barrel at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they haven't watered it down.
Yeah. And this is pretty cool. So I'm getting like way more, because we've actually just had a normal Maker's 46 to kind of warm our palates up. We had it while we were playing cards earlier. But I reckon I'm getting a lot more oak on that. And this is this really interesting thing that happens when you go from cask strength and it's go to proof it down. And that's why they often will say when you're tasting, add some water.
Well, I like it with water. And so this, to me, has a lot more heat at the top of my mouth, which I don't get with a lot of them. Often I'll just get all these delicious flavours and then a little bit of a heat or a burn, I call it, afterwards. Whereas this, I instantly get heat on the top of my mouth and on my tongue. Still delicious, but there's definitely, to me, a lot more heat, even though I've popped a bit of ice in there.
And I think it's quite interesting to drink this against the from normal 46, because I feel like the mouth feels a bit richer as well, a bit creamier, a bit more.
And the longer you leave it in there, I find too that the flavours are changing.
Yeah. I'm getting like some tropical fruit or something.
Yeah, I was going to say
marmalade maybe?
Yeah, apricots or
cool
peaches, something summery. That's nice. So is this the closest you'll get to thieving from a barrel? If you can't thieve from a barrel, you just... Because it's like the strength of... When you thieve from a barrel, it's not watered down, it's just straight out of the barrel.
Right. So you can there's some experiences at Star Hill Farm where you can thieve from a Maker's Mark barrel, but if you can't do it, then the cask strength releases are the ones that are the closest you can get, yeah.
Or is a single barrel?
Well,
single barrel, they water it down?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. So cask strength is...
It's still batched, right? So they've still put 19 barrels together to get to the...
But it's the strength that is... Yeah.
And so a single barrel is much more often they'll choose what they think are the best barrels or what are the best barrels, and you'll be tasting one of those. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. There's so many different things.
But here's one of these great things. So, we were so spoiled by Trevor
Oh, it was amazing.
Maker's Mark. Only a few weeks ago, I had this incredible experience and toured the farm and ate the apples and visited that spring-fed lake and
saw the cows.
And met Gus the donkey, and there's so many good things. And, we got to make a video about it, all that kind of stuff. It was so cool. But one of the things that really struck home to me is that every barrel of Maker's Mark, except for those ones in the cellar, which have just had either staves put in it for 46 or for the private selects, or the stuff that's now we know is the cellar aged, which is just older now.
Yeah.
It's all exactly the same juice in exactly the same barrel profile. Yeah. And it's just aged between is it 5 and 7? Is that the right number?
I think so. Don't quote us on that.
Yeah.
But it's this incredible thing where it's like all the same recipe. They're not mixing it up until, like you said, for the 46 afterwards, they're adding in some staves. But all the same recipe, all the same procedure. It's incredible. And you go into the room where they have the big stills, and it's like every bottle of Maker's Mark that anyone's ever drunk has gone through that room.
Yeah.
And standing there in that room kind of going, wow, every party we've ever had, when we were younger and drank Maker's Mark and Coke.
And Aussies love Maker's Mark, right? You see it everywhere, and, in bars where they barely have any bottles.
Third biggest buyer of it?
Well, I think this is, I think for
Maker's Mark?
I think, didn't Rob Samuel say this to it? Didn't he say we're the third biggest? So I think it's amazing. And then the other one is that spring-fed lake at Star Hill Farm.
Yeah, they've got two, and they use, one's their main one and the other one is backup.
Yeah. So many interesting and cool stories about Makers. Maybe should we talk quickly about what 46 is, just in case people forgot? Yes. 46 is the normal Maker's Mark, but they pop the top off and they put in 10 charred oak staves, the French oak staves, and the stave number is 46. That's where the name comes from. So they pop it open, they put those staves in, and they put it into this cellar, this limestone cellar they have in the side of a hill.
Yeah, beautiful and cool.
They age it, and that's where you get these extra...
Yeah, so that's how it's different from a standard Maker's Mark.
Yep.
It's a Maker's Mark, pop the top off, chuck a few extra staves in for a different flavour. So that's why they can't call it bourbon, because they've added staves. Is that why they call it bourbon whiskey? Because they have to put whiskey on when it's no longer a bourbon? Or
interesting,
is that just...
you're tapping into something there. So they've called, on this label, they're calling it Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Yeah.
Barrel finished with oak staves. I think they're still allowed to call it that because they're not adding. It's still in the original cask.
They're not changing it from barrel to barrel, or they're not using other. They're using it. They're doing all the rules that you would normally do for bourbon. Yeah, but then they're just throwing a few extra staves in at the end.
You're in a real technical place here because so the difference between Woodford Double Oaked is that they use a brand new barrel again for the next one, and this is true of 1910 as well. So that is definitely still bourbon because it's just you can go to a second new charred oak barrel. You can go to as many as you want. Yeah, but it has to be a new charred oak barrel. Yeah, but Angel's Envy isn't. Angel's Envy goes to a port cask, which is a secondary one. So that is technically adding something. Yeah. So they have to use kind of funky language where they say finished in port wine barrels.
But one of the things I love about the 46 is that, obviously Maker's Mark is an amazing product, and when you inherit, third generation, he inherits his, this incredible product and an amazing story and amazing distillery, and he wanted to make, how was he going to make it his own? I think that's real. That's what fascinates me, is that he was able to add something, putting the staves in, something different, new, unique, and it has definitely added to it.
So cool. And
lots of places now are doing it, right? Adding extra staves.
Well, stave finishing is definitely becoming a bit more of a thing. I don't know if lots of places are doing it, but it's definitely more of a thing. And the flavours you get from it are amazing. If you tried 46 next to Maker's Mark, you'll definitely taste the flavour differences.
Because it's that wood that gives it a lot of the flavour too, because as it goes in and out, the heat and the cold, all that delicious flavour comes from the wood.
So good.
And it's the bit that's unpredictable, which I think is fun. It's the difference the wood's going to make.
And we had so much fun at Star Hill Farm. We've told everyone that they should go all the time. Definitely need to go. It was our third visit, and we were treated to so many awesome stories.
And we're looking forward to going back.
And we picked up the book as well. It's called My Autobiography. It's about the Maker's Mark story. It's by Bill Samuels Jr. and it's so cool. So worth a read as well if you're looking for some reading about bourbon.
Definitely.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you're connected with us on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, and stay connected with us by clicking subscribe on your favourite podcast app.